I got idea, man. You take me for a walk.
And welcome to this week's edition of Twin Peaks Unwrapped. I'm Bryon Kozowski, and beside me is...
Ben Durant.
Hey, Ben.
Hey, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Yeah.
So we're going to be doing episode 17 on this newest of New Year's. We have episode 17. It's been a while. It's been a while since we've caught up with the Twin Peaks show.
Yeah, because for all of December we had kind of specials and yeah, so it pretty much ended with the episodes in November. So it's been a while.
And I have to say, episode 17 is a pretty good episode. I enjoyed it a lot.
Well, why don't I get into it?
Let's get into the facts of the show.
So this is episode 17. It was written by Trisha Brook, directed by Tina Rathborn, and this is aired December 8th, 1990. I kept on hoping that we would cross paths, that because it's been 25 years.
Yeah.
But yeah, we keep on. We're now in January, so we've now, we've never crossed where we're the exact same week as the show. But I guess that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the rating is a 7.4, and it's the 75th place for the week out of all the shows. So,
it's kind of hovering around that area now.
It's hovering, going towards 100. Oh no.
Well, hey, if you hit 100, that's pretty cool.
Oh yeah, that'd be great. But yeah, so I mean, it takes place. So when we get into this episode, it's been 3 days later since the whole Leland dying and kind of.
Yeah, they jumped time. They jumped. To me, I thought this was kind of like the first time Twin Peaks has kind of skipped over a period of time. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. I don't think they've ever. It's always been basically one day each episode and stuff. So yeah, it's the first time that we've. It's funny in a way that like. They didn't go further than that. Like, so I mean, they can't, because I think they want to still stay true to the mystery. But some of these people who are supposed to still be in high school, who never go to high school, you probably could have gone 5 years. But it's hard with Cooper and stuff to say, oh, we're gonna just jump ahead.
And it makes sense. 3 days, because it's like the wake of Leland. I mean, they're having Leland's wake, and everyone's eating at the house, and Sarah Palmer. They're talking to her. And this is like the most you see of her. And I wanted to ask you about the first scene, though. She's giving a drug. Is that to calm her down? What was that drug?
So I think throughout the series, she was always having a sedative. I mean, I think she was always kind of out of it, and because still dealing with the loss of her daughter.
And we are confirmed, the theory that we've talked about. And I know you know the truth, but my theory, she was being drugged. When Leland was doing it. And we talked about that, like, when she came down the steps,
right,
and she seemed out of it.
She was punched in the stomach.
Yeah. My other theory was she punched in the stomach. I'm gonna punch her in the stomach.
Right, and I think, they might even be revisited again later down, maybe one more time or something.
Yeah.
But yeah,
it confirms that.
It did confirm that she had been drugged and stuff.
And we didn't hit upon the log lady.
Oh, yes. When you say the log lady, you're talking about the intro to this episode.
Yeah, the log lady
I, of course, didn't watch it again. I don't know what my deal is, but I'm a purist, and I want to see it as I saw as a 15-year-old watching the TV show.
But you have the Blu-rays. You should watch them.
I'm going to watch them.
All right.
I'm going to after we're done with this, I want to watch them again. And partly, the other issue is, too, that like sometimes I think it does give spoilers. Like, it talks about things.
I think so.
And I don't want to talk to you about that until we've gotten to that point. So yeah.
The log lady in this episode basically talks about, why do we complicate life? Life should be simple. I think she also uses a metaphor about the cart, the horse. The horse before the cart. Is it the cart before the horse? And basically just saying
the chicken and the egg.
Like we complicate our lives by doing what we do, and if we didn't do these things, life would be simple and easy. But for some reason, we complicate ourselves by making these choices in life. And that was basically her little thing. I kind of see that in this episode. I kind of see the metaphor of what she's talking about.
Yeah. So so Sarah Palmer says she doesn't want the sedative.
Yeah.
That she wants to kind of be alert and
We know that Leland is buried.
Well, I think you're right. I think it's the
Yeah.
reception after the
Yep.
funeral. Do you want to bring up some audio?
Sure.
My husband. Next to my only child.
Oh, yeah. Oh, wait.
Her grave is still so new. There's only a little bit of grass on it.
Mrs. Palmer, there are things dark and heinous in this world. Things too horrible to tell our children. Your husband fell victim to one of these long ago when he was innocent and trusting. Leland did not do these things, not the Leland that you knew.
No. That man I saw. Long, dirty, disgusting hair.
Is gone forever.
So is everything I loved.
Sarah.
I know it's long, but I feel like there's a lot
Tell you
here.
what happened just before Leland died. It's hard
That
to
clicking, is that
realize
part
here what has transpired. Your husband went so far as to drug you to keep his actions secret. But before he died, Leland confronted the horror of what he had done to Laura and agonized over the pain he had caused you. Leland died at peace. In his last moments, he saw Laura. He kept saying how much he loved her, and I believe she welcomed him, that she forgave him. It's time.
It's the clock, Ben.
It's a clock. I hear this tick, 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 and I didn't remember hearing. Maybe
It's almost like a calming thing. Like
Yeah.
you feel calm. You're hearing all this information, which could probably be anxiety. You're like, oh my god. But you hear that clock, and it's just kind of like, I don't know.
kind of soothing in some ways.
Soothing. And but you find out all this information, which is nice, and also it makes the mystery even bigger because now she saw Bob. We know she
Right.
saw Bob, but she mentions like I would see him. And
Yeah.
So did she see Bob rather than her husband? Was Bob trying to take over her, but
Right.
she couldn't because she was more strong-willed?
Maybe.
And it's interesting that she did see Bob and she saw that was not her husband. Like she knew, like that was not my husband.
Yeah.
But it took away everything I loved,
Right.
which was Leland. So it's interesting.
It is, and I really like what Cooper has to say about. Leland, when he was dying, he says he saw Laura, and she's so beautiful. But is really, it kind of is a way of kind of. I feel like what Cooper's talking about that, Laura forgave him and stuff, and that. I feel like in some ways that's kind of really is resolving this mystery. Like we kind of see, even though Laura's not with us anymore, we kind of see Laura is all right, and she's forgiving her father for the thing. If we look, he's saying it both ways. Like, that wasn't Leland, but then he's also saying, well, excuse me, it was Leland, and she's forgiving him and stuff. So, they seem to want to have it both ways. It's like if it's not Leland who's doing this, then
Bob.
why does Laura have to forgive him in some ways? But
yeah.
there was actually the original script had different dialogue that Cooper had to say, and I thought maybe I could read some of it just to see. I like this ending. I like the idea of having Sarah know about Laura and all that. But Cooper also, in the script, Cooper says Laura and Leland have gone from this life to the next, but they are with you always, here and here, tapping his head and his heart. The experience we have of people doesn't leave when they do. If you close your eyes, you can see Laura blowing out the candles of her birthday cake, Leland mowing the yard, shaving at the sink. Sarah closes her eyes. The moments are yours always. So
remember the good times.
So remember the good times. It's a different way than looking. I probably prefer this because of the mystery of it and stuff. But it's interesting to see this other script of maybe kind of looking more about I think it's focusing more on Sarah and what she's dealing with, and Cooper giving comfort to the, you always have these great memories of your family. And stuff.
Yeah.
But so here's something I'm going to share with you. We're not going to see Sarah Palmer anymore.
I was going to say that because, I mean,
you figured that.
I had a feeling because the story arc of the Palmers is over. So why would we focus on them? You know what I'm saying? And plus, the husband and daughter's dead, and Maddie's dead, so the only person is her.
Right.
And it's unless she becomes a killer.
Yeah.
There's really no reason to visit her again.
It's just funny that we spend 16 episodes with this family, and like they're all wiped out. I mean, we lose Maddie, we lose Leland.
Yeah, pretty much.
And now we're losing Sarah, and it's kind of in a way. She was a downer. I mean, like, we always felt like she was always grieving and stuff. In a way, the writers have basically said this character doesn't matter anymore. But
it's giving her closure with this scene.
Yeah.
It's closure to her and for the people who watch. But it is crazy that the show gave us the killer almost in the first quarter of this season. So now the show's got to change gears and give us something else.
Right.
And, I've been told by people what the second half of the season is really about, but it's just quite interesting when the show must have been airing how people were feeling when watching this, going, well, you gave us the killer, you gave us a conclusion, you gave us closure, what the hell could you possibly do now? Like, what could happen?
And I watching this as a 15-year-old when it was actually on TV.
Yeah.
I told you the last episode in 16. I thought that was the last episode. I was like, I don't know if it's coming back after this. We basically have Cooper in the woods with Harry and Major Briggs and everybody, and it's kind of like, oh, it's resolved.
Yeah.
And then this episode comes, and the way as we go forward, I'm kind of like, oh, we're gonna have one more episode to let Cooper say goodbye, and like because where else do you go from here?
Yeah.
And it's like I think you kind of see it shaping it as the writers are kind of figuring out how do we keep Cooper in Twin Peaks,
and they figure that out.
They're figuring it out. How
yeah.
do they keep him in here when his case is over? I mean, that's a tricky thing to do, and I think in the next several episodes they're going to try to find ways of like, is he going to be an FBI agent? We don't know. I mean, how are we going to keep him here? So I think that's. And I do like that scene back with Sarah Palmer where she says Leland always found the other earring and stuff. So it's kind of, I think she still relied a lot on Leland, and it's now going to have to be.
He has a one-person show. Yeah. Yep.
So the other thing about the actress, she had brought ideas about maybe keeping her on, and I think she had brought to Harley Peyton's. The idea of maybe she was a witch, or maybe
interesting.
Well, and it kind of goes into that I believe her sister is Beth, and Beth is the mom of Maddie Ferguson. So we only hear about it on the phone about Beth.
Yeah.
But I think with Grace Zabowski wanted to do was maybe spend more time with the sisters, and maybe the sisters could have been witches or something like that. So she wanted to have this supernatural element. It didn't go that way, but it's fun to hear from the actors.
That's cool.
This is from Wrapped in Plastic. Let's see, what issue was that? I'm trying to. I have
Sisters
it right here.
of Twin Peaks.
Sisters of Twin Peaks. Number 40, they did an interview with her, and I think that was something she had brought forward.
Wow.
So it's I would have enjoyed seeing that because I really love the supernatural element of this show. So
that's really cool. And so also, it cuts after the scene with her, and they're having the wake for Leland and everything, but. I noticed this show switches gears. It's giving us more Nadine.
Oh yeah, I'm not even ready to go to Nadine yet.
You're not. Oh, okay.
I'm sorry. I'm still at the reception afterwards and stuff.
Yeah.
So you kind of bring in all these characters you haven't seen in a while. Dr. Jacoby's back. We meet these brothers.
Oh, the brothers. That's what I was going to talk about. Yeah, Well, the reason I mentioned Nadine so early on.
Oh, she's at the reception.
She's dressed as a maid. Like
she'll be a schoolgirl, I think.
It reminds me of a maid outfit, and she's looking into her shoe, and I'm like, "What is going on?"
Oh,
and then it's like she asks Big Ed, "Can you see my underwear through my shoes?" And he's just like, Nadine, I can't see nothing, blah, blah, blah. But it was just weird. I'm like, oh, God.
I will say that there are girls who think that way. I mean, we're talking about young girls.
Yeah,
I remember when I was a kid, there would be a girl who'd come up to me and be like, "Can you see my underwear?" And it's like, what? And I'm just like, Ed, it's like, you can't see anything.
Yeah. And I mean, it looks like she's dressed as a maid. She's got like a doily.
Yeah, I guess that's fair. I can see that.
Yeah, it is a nice dress. I guess now that I'm re-looking at it.
Maybe it is going to be like, that's your like Sunday best.
Yes.
Like that's your Sunday best outfit.
It's because she can see her face. But
yeah.
Oh, God. When we get into the Nadine stuff, it gets a little corny.
I do feel like this is...
in this episode with Nadine.
They talk about TV shows that jump the shark. I do feel like this borderlines on jumping the shark.
With Nadine.
With Nadine.
Yeah, it does. I mean, and it's no fault... Because I feel like in the beginning of the season, they gave this character this weird arc. And now what do you do with it?
Right.
They had fun with it. I want to, like, as of right now, I feel like they're just having fun with their character. I don't feel like it's, but it is a little corny.
There are parts, yeah, I mean, as the storyline goes on, there's parts of it that I'll enjoy. Sometimes I can chuckle at the idea of her super strength. And sometimes it works. And other times it's like, I don't know.
So... You know, pretty much everybody, Norma and is it Henry? No, Hank.
Hank, yeah.
And everybody.
And I will say, nobody really seems really upset. I mean, that's kind of like, we're here to hang out and kind of mingle. And maybe that's what you do at receptions. Maybe you're not always.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard because like, do you feel bad for Leland, who was the killer, and it's a weird.
Yeah.
Place
How
to
do
be.
you feel bad? It's hard to feel bad for the guy who was the killer. He was a killer. He died. Should we feel bad?
Right.
You know, that's a tough one. So, I mean, I know there's not much. Oh, this is the part. I see Dada, and I'm like, she cut her hair short. Really, she just had her hair back.
Yeah.
But
so the only other thing I wanted to mention is
Jacoby. Jacoby's back.
Yeah, Jacoby's back. We mentioned the brothers. So the mayor, I feel like the mayor hasn't been in this since the pilot. I don't know if he's been in it again. So we have the mayor, and then we introduced the brother, who I think works for the press.
And I'm like,
newspaper.
oh, they're giving us another side people,
Yeah.
other side people. And yeah, I don't think we saw him since the town hall.
Right, which is the pilot and
the
stuff.
pilot, yeah. So not much happens other than you find out the history between these two brothers.
Right.
That he stole his girl or whatever, and
yeah,
like Major Briggs pretty much has the entire history of his, and he tells Jacoby, and then Cooper, you know, they fight. And they get a little scruff, and Cooper's like, boy, those two are having fun.
Yes.
And
why don't we have some audio just for fun here?
Next for you, sir.
Well, Major, I'm not exactly sure. I've stockpiled a few weeks of vacation time. Now might be the time to cash them in.
For starters, would you care to join me for an incredibly pleasant evening of night fishing?
Aces.
So in the unseen Twin Peaks, in the script, there's a little bit more about the fishing, and just that Cooper says, this is near the end of their conversation. Gentlemen, I'm grateful. I didn't know how I was going to leave Twin Peaks. You built me a bridge. I'm not saying goodbye. I'm going fishing. But I mean, I thought it was
cool.
I mean, it's a pretty cool line in a way
Yeah.
that say, hey, that this is, he doesn't, and he does mention it later on a little bit, Audrey, but still the thing to kind of get this way of like, yeah, I don't have to say goodbye to you guys. We can kind of have a send off by just going fishing.
And I like how, well, they're probably like, we need to make sure this episode's short. So just cut all the dialogue and just say aces.
Aces. I know, right?
Yeah. I think he said all that with just saying aces, actually.
It's funny that Audrey is also comforting Sarah Palmer, where like,
where's Donna?
That's what that was my first thought. Is like, where's Donna, the best friend of Laura's? She's not hanging out anywhere near her.
No.
And then Audrey, who was like, I always felt like Audrey and Laura were rivals. Like, I didn't think they were friends at all. And like here, she's now being the one that's comforting. It's
interesting that Sarah Palmer is telling a story about Donna and Laura.
And maybe that's why Donna's not there. Maybe they wanted to
But Donna was just there talking to Big Ed.
Yeah.
That makes no sense.
She's still right there eating. She's getting some food right now.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, it is weird that Donna isn't more comforting to the mom.
Yeah, I don't know what the thinking was, but... Or maybe, I mean, it's off screen. We don't see it. But.
Yeah, they needed her there to break up the old man fight. I'll make you break a hip.
The brothers.
So, I mean... I don't know how much you want to jump.
I think I can jump wherever you want to go.
Nadine, we'll touch upon Nadine. We find out Nadine's going back to school.
Yeah.
I
can say about that. I mean, in the script again, I seem to go into the script a lot. It kind of talks. I don't know if it really is clear in the TV series, but Dr. Jacoby feels that this would be good progress for her. That she needs to live in this fantasy world. What were you gonna say about?
No. Keep going because they don't make that clear.
No, they don't make it clear.
But because I see Jacoby and Ed in the principal's office, I put 2 and 2 together. But they don't come out and say that. But that's what I got out of it.
Yeah. So in the script, so Big Ed and Dr. Jacoby are at the vice principal's office, and in the script, Dr. Jacoby explains that for medical reasons, Nadine she never finished high school, and she actually got married to Ed and then dropped out of high school, and that he thinks it would be very good for her if they're allowed to maintain her own reality. That if she can live this, that maybe this will help her deal with the trauma or whatever she's dealing with.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's something. So I thought it was interesting to share just because it wasn't really spelled out on the show.
It
it's
wasn't. But I got that. Yeah. But I was kind of like, oh, interesting.
And this is where I feel like you're really jumping shark. You have this. I think in the script she's 35. I can't remember if she's 45 but in the script I think she's 35 years old. And so you have a 35-year-old going back to high school.
It's like Billy Madison. It's an Adam Sandler movie. It really is like it's comical. It's sort of like Twin Peaks. It reminds me of back in the 90s and the 80s when they took like TV shows and they made them in babies for Saturday morning, like Muppet Babies.
Muppet Babies, sure.
And like they made Roseanne. Roseanne had a show when they were kids, and all these shows they took and made them popular.
Yeah.
For kids, I just picture this like Twin Peaks. The high school years,
right?
Right.
Like
that's what it's kind of going at.
The irony is that the people that are supposed to be in high school are not in high school. Yeah, except for Mike. Mike finally goes back and stuff, but
he's the only one. He's the only good kid. Everybody else. But I like the fact that they reference the fact they should be in high school.
Yeah,
they always make jokes about how they should be in high school, so that's kind of cool. They're like they know what the audience is thinking,
right?
So this is a big scene. I'm sure you were very excited for.
I was excited. Audrey comes to see Cooper.
Yes, and for the first time when I saw this scene, I was like, I get it now from this scene. I still look at them as a father-daughter relationship, but after the scene, it's kind of hard to because she kind of comes out. And says,
"You break my heart. You broke my heart."
Yeah, and then she's like, "The only thing wrong with you is you're too perfect."
Oh yeah,
it's like cheese stuff.
So I mean, just to go back because to talk about this is that the writers had planned a big storyline at this point, around this point, that Cooper and Audrey were going to build towards a romantic relationship. Yeah. And I'd love to revisit this again as we go down towards maybe the end of the series. That even towards the end of the series, there was things where you see, I see what they could have done if Audrey and Cooper were together. I see I think I saw the what they had planned out. But it was Kyle MacLachlan who said, "No, I don't want the relationship to be that way." And kind of what you're saying.
Well, I heard it's because Kyle MacLachlan had a relationship with the
actress who plays Donna there, Laura Flynn Boyle. There? Yeah.
Laura Flynn.
So he's dating her at the time.
Yes, and she did not like that.
Yes, that's what I'm hearing too. Right. Yeah. Privately, that seems to be the answer. Publicly, he is saying, "I don't like. I think this is inappropriate." Yeah. This is inappropriate that there's a high school student. She is 18, but she's that. And then Cooper, of course, in this scene will say that 17. you 18. She's 18.
Is she?
She's 18. She comes out and says she's 18. But Cooper will say again, you were working on an investigation. It's inappropriate for me. But it's like, as a 15-year-old kid, it's like, but you're done with that investigation. You solved the mystery. You can get together now. And
but
stuff.
Then he tells us about how he lost this woman.
I think we should play some audio when we get to that point.
The love is life.
Yeah, the love is life. And so this kind of goes back to the first season, and she's in bed and they're talking, and he kind of like saying, "Oh, do you have any secrets?" And he's saying, "No," I feel it's related to this. And there was the whole Andy needs to learn how to shoot a gun, and And he kind of talks about there was a woman in his life and stuff and broke his heart. So why don't we play some audio?
So this is it? You save my life, then break my heart?
Audrey, I've explained to you my personal policy about involving...
Yeah, I know. I'm a teenager.
And you were involved in a case I was working on.
Someone must have hurt you once really badly.
No, someone was hurt by me. And I'll never let that happen again.
What happened? Did she die or something?
Matter of fact, she did.
Oh, that's gonna hurt.
You want to know how?
It's like,
She was a material witness to a federal crime. We were supposed to protect her. 24 hours a day. My partner and I. Wyndham Moreau was his name. Taught me everything I know about being a special agent. And when the attempt on her life was finally made, I wasn't ready. Because I loved her. She died in my arms. I was badly injured. And my partner lost his mind.
Yeah.
so there's some backstory about him now.
And we know that his partner escaped the mental ward.
Right.
A while back. And he's sending chess pieces to him.
Right. And what we also knew, so like, we've gotten like little sprinkles of this. The other thing we knew is that we knew he was wounded, and this first came up with that. He was shot at the he was shot at the end of the first season, and there was talk about reference that he had been injured before, and I think he said this to Gordon Cole that this had nothing to do with it.
And Leland brings it up.
Leland brings it up, who is Bob, right? Bob gets like what happened in Philadelphia and stuff, and that kind of like shocks Cooper that he knows about that.
Maybe Bob is the one that's tracking Cooper down.
Maybe
it's the other way around. Maybe Bob's been looking for Cooper the whole time.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, after this scene, you know what I thought to myself? I would be see, she's a teenager, and this is against Cooper's character if they were having them together, because it would make no sense for him to be a Boy Scout all the time, but to date a teenager. I feel for me that would take away from his character, that
maybe his ethics or
they've given this character such a high ethic, and he's a Boy Scout,
right?
And then also to date a teenager would just be kind of like For me, it felt kind of uneven.
I agree, and I also can buy that it was an investigation that he was involved with. That it seems wrong to be, to get, because in some ways he was probably manipulating her to get information about the case and stuff, and possibly he was doing that. Yeah, so he probably feel wrong that he never wanted to lead her on, and now he doesn't want to lead her on to think that like we can have a relationship after this.
But I do feel that in the next the new show, the new season. They actually could be together if Audrey lives through this.
If Audrey, yes,
I'm assuming she lives because she's still around.
In real life, you mean as an actor?
I know on the show she doesn't die.
I'm not gonna say anything.
Well, anyway, I figure those two can be together, and because they'd be both adults.
But now she would be, if it's 25 years later and she's 18. I'm not gonna do the math, but she's definitely in her
30 something, almost 40.
Right?
Yeah,
she's almost 40. And Cooper is like 70.
He's like 30 something.
He's 30 something. So maybe he's 60 or who knows something. Or
he goes for the young ladies.
Yeah, right.
But they could be together, or they could bring it up that they've been together for a while.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many possibilities. It would be kind of cool if they got together, or at least, even if they didn't get together in the new series, I would love for them to have an exchange. And I mean, I'm not going to tell you. We have to get through the series before I give you my.
I know.
You know what I mean? Like, I feel like I can't say, well, Cooper's going to do this, and this is what's going to happen. But
they can make a Twin Peaks movie where we find out they've been having sex, and then they'll go back to the show, and they're not together.
It makes me think of like a show called X.
Might be another show.
Yeah, maybe. But so the next scene has Bobby trying on Leo's suits.
Yes.
What I do like about this thing is the idea that, like, in some ways, Bobby's almost trying to think he can follow in Leo's footsteps, or he can be as tough as Leo.
He looks like Leo in this. His hair slicked back like Leo.
Right. But he doesn't fit into the suit. So
he's a scrawny guy.
He's a scrawny guy, but the idea of metaphor is that he's no Leo.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not a badass like Leo. I mean, he's a punk, but
yeah. He's basically he wants another.
He's got another scheme going on, right?
Yeah,
I mean, like this last one of thinking that he was going to get all the insurance money didn't work out.
And then he wants to, he made a tape for Ben Horn. And he actually has an interview with Ben Horn.
Yeah.
And I wasn't clear if it was for a job interview or it was to be like, hey, I have that tape. And it was I got that tape.
He's blackmailing him to get a job.
Yeah.
It's how everybody gets a job now, right? You blackmail them and say, I've got information on you. I can put you in jail. Give me a job.
But it doesn't work.
No.
I mean, we'll come back to that because I later in the episode. So after this scene, I mean, it's not much to it, but we find out Kathleen gives her backstory to Catherine gives her backstory to her husband.
But do you buy his? I don't buy her story. I think she's clearly making it all up because she's saying. I think like Truman will say, "Oh, have you seen your husband yet?" No, I haven't seen him yet. I'm gonna go see him soon. And she's already kissed him as when she's Mr. T there, Mr. Taj.
Yeah, she's giving the backstory to.
Well, she's saying she was been in the woods the whole time, and she ate tuna fish, and she's got dirt on her face. It's like she just made all this stuff.
Oh yeah,
up.
she's giving the backstory to him. Because she's making that up. Because nobody knows she was Mr. T. Except for her husband.
Tarja Marja or whatever.
Tarja Marja, yeah. The very racist
but yeah, but I mean, yes. But I mean, the reasoning is that she, originally, Josie went missing, and there was all this other things that are happening that they can maybe say that she was involved with the fire and all this stuff. Yeah. So she's make up this story here.
Yeah, and also Ben Horn knows that. Ben Horn saw her as Mr. T.
Yeah.
So she
also kind of blackmailed him
that's
too.
True.
And she said, give me the Ghostwood estate and I'll be your alibi. Maybe, but
maybe. But then he's scot-free anyway.
Well, because they got the killer, right?
Yeah.
So I mean,
what's that hold any water now?
It's like, I know the whole. I mean, basically, it was like we're done with that story. We're moving on.
Yeah, you're right.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I like Catherine's story of like being that. Do you believe in angels? And that and that story is really interesting. That she found this cabin and remembered as a child going
at the lakes.
The lakes, yeah, the lakes again, right?
Yep.
Lakes.
And I thought maybe Bob took her in, feeding her tuna fish.
There you go.
And he's like, "When did you come back? When did you decide to come back? When I ran out of tuna fish."
Yeah.
I was like, interesting. Yeah. She's quite the. I mean, she's over selling it.
Yeah,
she's overselling it.
A little bit.
She doesn't look like she lost much weight from eating all this tuna fish.
Yes.
But technically, she hasn't been gone all that long.
No, right. So if we're on episode 17,
but it was 3 days already passed,
yeah.
And she came back after Leland's death.
Right. So she's been gone a little over a week.
I think.
Yeah.
She looks pretty healthy for hanging out.
Or actually, maybe it's 2 weeks. Maybe if I could do.
Her hair's done. She's got
about a week and a half.
A little dirt in her face.
Oh man.
So after she tells her BS story, we go back to Dick and Lucy. Now this, actually, I don't mind this whole Dick and Lucy stuff with Andy. So Dick and Lucy, Dick sounds like he wants her to keep the kid and he's willing to be there.
Yeah.
But nobody knows who the baby belongs to yet. We don't know if it's Dick. We don't know if it's Andy's.
Right.
And Andy starts play the kind card.
Yes.
Because he knows that Lucy likes kindness.
Right.
And that he's going to be as nice to Dick as possible. And I think Lucy likes that.
Yeah.
And
it's funny. It's actually funny though to see that Andy is scheming, like because generally Andy does come off as a very nice guy.
Yeah.
So it's funny to be like, yeah.
But he's such a nice guy. He can only scheme to be nice.
Right.
He's not scheming to be mean. Or he's like, I will kill her with kindness, and I'll kill Dick with kindness because they're later on it becomes like the Three Stooges with these guys.
Yeah,
It's very slapsticky.
It is. It really is, and it only intensifies. I mean, it's gonna. Yeah, I know.
Does it get bigger and bigger with their slapsticks?
Oh man.
Oh man, I'm in for a treat.
I know. There's a lot of B stories in this show now. Like I feel like we have less.
Yes.
Like.
You're right.
I mean, I think also the issue is that like when we had the Laura Palmer case. We would think that everything was related to Laura Palmer in some ways. Everybody connected to Laura, and it was. Now it's kind of like now I think we're just kind of learning about the town, and it's just the everyday people. It's no longer about this one mystery.
This episode did feel different, where it gave you all these side stories. It did feel like a soap opera in a way, because it was just, you're right, you're learning about the town, and there was no focus yet.
Yeah.
This episode is a very big transition episode, because the focus, there's not much of it. It's just kind of bouncing between people, giving you information. But
I mean, Cooper's always the constant, right? I mean, that's how we follow Cooper, and I mean, I'll follow him wherever he goes.
Yeah, he really is the constant.
Yeah.
And then
Cooper visits Truman in his office. I think he's saying his goodbyes. Is he there yet, or I'm trying?
Well, they're talking about goodbyes, and they have presents. He gives Cooper a green butt skunk fishing lure, and it's to go because he's going to go
fishing trip with Major Briggs.
Yeah, Major Briggs going to go fishing, and he gets the coolest thing ever. And I wonder if we can get our hands on one. Is the Bookhouse Boy patch?
Yes,
which is a tree. It looked like a sword.
Yeah,
was coming out of. I don't know. It was really hard to see. It looks like a pine tree with a sword or something coming up.
Yeah, I mean, I think if we go into Etsy, you probably could find that patch. I'm sure somebody has made that available.
It's pretty cool. So a green butt skunk.
Nice.
Fishing.
I do love these moments where they can just enjoy the little things in life, whether it be the
And also, I like. Wait. One more thing. They give you the love music.
Oh,
it's the
bromance.
The romance music. That's the music you always
hear. I want to hear it.
Bookhouse Boy patch.
Yeah.
It is a sword.
We all agreed. You're one of us now.
We all agreed you're one of us now. I mean, that is so cool. I mean, he's an outsider, and he's come in, and now they respect him enough to say, hey, you're part of the club. You're part of this secret society in town that takes care of the town. And stuff. I think that's awesome. They shook hands and stuff.
Oh, and it's funny how they did the shaking of the hands, where the last scene we saw. Dick and Andy trying to shake Dick's hand.
Yeah, that's a good thing. I didn't even see that. I didn't even think of that.
They did 2 double handshakes.
Wow.
They do all these handshakes. It was a close-up of the handshake, too.
That is something. I didn't catch on. It is like a parallel. One is silly, slapstick, shaking hands, and now this is a very serious. And Twin Peaks does do a pretty amazing job of going from, really serious drama to slapstick silly to, I mean, they have it all, which is not an easy thing
balance,
to do. Good balance. So now Cooper's saying goodbye to Hawk and Andy,
which is really sad. It's all
Lucy.
like,
this is where I thought, wow, this is the end of the show. I mean, this is the last episode. And my favorite is this. I got to get Lucy dialogue again here, but this.
Now you better invite me to that wedding, whoever the lucky man might be.
I like that. I mean,
he looks
he said, whoever that be, and he looks at Andy, and it's a nice touch. It's kind of like, it kind of goes back to where he gets a good sense of relationships, and like he knew that Harry was dating Josie and stuff, and he kind of so he knows that Lucy and Andy belong together.
Yep. I
think the audience does too. And
yeah.
So he's just about to leave, and then all of a sudden we've got some news. I guess we can go audio again.
Yeah,
just to
Cooper
talk about
is going to be suspended.
Roger, what are you doing here?
Dale, we've got a problem. Effective immediately, without pay. I regret to inform you of your suspension from the FBI.
That's pretty intense. I mean, especially to do it without pay. I mean, that's really serious. Like, you don't even give me a chance to at least give me a suspension with pay. But
suspension. And like the Mountie,
Canadian Mountie.
The Canadian Mountie, I have to say, he looks fishy. When I saw him, he looks fishy. And I know
he looks like he's up to no good.
Yeah, and I find out why later. But he looks fishy, and he looked fishy the moment I saw him. Though he looked out of place,
right?
And he just didn't. It didn't sit well with me. The way he looked.
He seemed maybe he came off more angry or not. Yeah.
The mustache. Maybe,
maybe that's
that's a mustache. I think it was a mustache. Looked fake or something. But so they're suspending Cooper because he was rescuing Audrey over the border, and they never talked to the Canadian Mounties, the Canadian police,
right? To
say, hey, we're coming over to do an investigation. We'll come to find out that they were doing an investigation at the same place, and they kind of ruined their sting operation.
Right.
So their sting operation ruined their sting operation.
Yes.
And then on top of that, what I wrote is, could Ben Horn be at play? Because now I haven't seen Ben Horn yet, so I'm thinking, is it Ben Horn that, because he doesn't like Cooper, does he have something to have any?
But Ben Horn, Cooper saved his daughter from it.
Doesn't matter though. Ben Horn does. He's smart enough to keep himself out of jail because he uses other people to do his biddings.
Yeah.
And he's got money, and I think a part of me was like, is Ben Horn, like, I want Cooper gone.
Yep.
I want something bad to happen to Cooper because he screwed up a lot of stuff. You know? That's what I was thinking. But then it cuts to, okay, this scene is very odd to me.
Yes.
It's very,
we got Bobby at the Great Northern. And all of a sudden, Audrey pops up with a basket.
Yes, and you know,
it makes me think of Little Red Riding Hood.
The school, shouldn't you be in school?
Yes.
And she's like, oh no, I don't like, it's boring. And so she goes in, and she goes, oh, you can go in. It's about who you talk to. And then he goes in there.
Yes.
And then he's literally kicked out. Like the moment Ben Horn's like, I got a fly in here. Get a fly swatter.
Right.
And then he's kicked out, and Audrey didn't even walk down the steps. She was like, she waited for him to be kicked out. Like she barely moved, and then all of a sudden they're buddy.
On that? I mean, she's
a troublemaker.
It almost makes me remind me of the first season a little bit, where she kind of played with people a little bit. I mean, I kind of missed that. I kind of missed from the first season where she would kind of do things and get people in trouble, and
yeah, maybe you're right. So maybe she was messing with him. But then afterwards, it's like he gets kicked out, and then all of a sudden he's like, I owe you. And then she's like, oh, let's go for ice cream. And
I like to lick.
Yeah, and I'm like, don't tell me they're going to have some sort of thing.
Yeah, what do you make of that? I mean, it does appear as though there
Audrey's
could be
hitting
a romantic...
on him.
I mean, yeah, it almost seemed like knowing that we know that Cooper and Audrey can't get together. Are the writers thinking, well, we should get Audrey together with somebody else? And are they thinking, even though Bobby's with Shelley, are they thinking, well, we should hook these two up? And
I mean, Bobby was cheating on Laura with Shelley.
That's true. Everybody cheats on everybody
on the show.
We'll bring up some audience since we were talking about it.
Yeah.
Can't imagine what all this is about, Bobby Briggs.
You know, it's twice you saved my bacon, Audrey. You taught me sainthood. Is there anything I can do for you?
How about an ice cream?
Cup or cone?
Cone. I like to lick.
See, it's so like, I'm like, oh my God.
There's having innuendos that you say I like to lick, and you're saying it to a guy.
Yeah.
I mean...
yeah. I'm like, are they going to set them up? And then I'm kind of like, I hope not. Yeah, I wouldn't want that to happen. I feel like after seeing
I don't think any of the audience did. I thought they were fun. I mean, watching them, they're kind of fun banter and stuff, and it's a new mix. I mean, it's something I don't know if we've ever seen them together. I mean,
barely.
The only time I could remember them was at the funeral. I mean, at Laura's funeral. I can't remember them really.
But they're almost like the same. They both like to cause trouble,
right?
And they're both out there,
right?
Like they're willing to cause trouble and they don't care.
Yeah,
they're kind of like the same.
So what you're saying
character.
is opposites attract. You need to have somebody. Yeah. You don't want to have the same personality.
Because Shelley's more like Like she's more of a
She's a little more
mousy
goody
type.
Yeah, she's a little goody two shoes. She's really, she cares about people, and
even though she's cheating on her husband.
That's true, but well,
yeah,
can you blame her?
Yeah, I know, but she still cares about Leo, even though Leo is in a coma. So, and Bobby just wants money.
Yep.
But maybe Bobby could be using Audrey for money. Or maybe Audrey could use Bobby for
and as you said that, Audrey, I think, always feels like she wants to get out of town and she wants to get a better life and she wants to do. And I feel like that's what Bobby wants too. I think he wants to make money and think that somehow that will make his life better. He will be more important. And I think they're very similar characters in some ways. But yeah.
Very interesting.
We're back at the sheriff's station, and Cooper's still talking with the.
Yeah, this is where, not to cut you off. No. This is where you find out about the Canadian sting operation, and then 3 dead bodies and the missing cocaine, which we didn't know about until now.
Right.
And you find out, well, the 3 dead bodies are Jacoby killed Mrs. Black.
Jean
Renault killed
Blackie. Yes. And I can't remember all. I think one of them was a guard.
A bodyguard got killed.
Right.
And another guy got killed. And I don't think Cooper even knew about until just then.
Right.
Yeah. So you find out this missing cocaine too. And you're just kind of like, what, missing cocaine?
Right. What is that? Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, Jean Renault.
And are they implying that Cooper would steal cocaine or something?
Yeah,
like that?
Why? But I think that's what they're applying. And they were looking for their sting operation was to get Renault.
Yeah.
Yes. But Renault took off. They're blaming Cooper that because his sting operation made Renault flee.
Right.
Yeah.
And again, I mean, FBI agents are not supposed to be going into other countries to do their work too. So and he admits to that. I mean, he admits to doing wrong. So my favorite. So there's a great thing. I don't know if you noticed this, but so I love Truman's thing where he's like, I'm not going to be helpful at all, which is funny because that goes back to when Cooper first came in the pilot and he stopped him in the hallway and he says, we have trouble sometimes with the local, the local sheriff department and stuff, and I hope you understand. But here Truman is trying to protect his friend.
Yep.
And I don't know. Did you notice that? When Cooper is leaving, he runs into Truman. Did you notice he did the sign, the
bookhouse,
sign?
Oh, I didn't know.
But he's never done that before. But now that he is a bookhouse Truman is a bookhouse boy now. And so here it is, right here. Truman sees that he lost his badge and his gun, and he does this. The bookhouse sign.
I didn't even get that.
Yeah.
So that was sort of like, I'll protect you.
Right. Right. Yeah.
I got your back.
It's right. Yeah. You're my brother, and we're in it together. It's pretty cool. I mean, it's very subtle. I mean,
I didn't get that the first time.
Another show would have, and it was a wide shot. Another show would have done a close up on his head and shown him taking his finger to his head and making the sign. But this way, I mean, nicely done, I thought.
Yeah.
So then, what do we got next? Are we actually with doing cheerleader tryouts here? I think we have Nadine doing her cheerleader tryouts.
Yes,
she's throwing
this is
people
where it got a little corny.
Yeah.
Nadine. Oh wow, I don't even know.
That's all right. Let's move on. There's not much to say.
She throws this kid
for no reason, right?
And there's like this weird sci-fi, this like, cha-ching, like you're in a cartoon. Oh, and it got really cheesy,
forward and backwards.
Yeah, forward and backwards a couple times.
Like the video going,
And they threw him, and it just reminded me of like this, like Saved by the Bell I was watching or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then they go cha-ching. Wait, hold on. I think they're gonna play.
Oh, yeah. I don't even remember that.
Yeah.
I didn't recognize that. It's like fairy dust or something. All right. And then we're back to the Johnson's house. Leo is still I guess he's just a vegetable, and Shelley is brushing his teeth. You know what? The funny thing is, Leo in the past would always be like, he always was very much about her cleaning up. It's like, you got to clean this house better. And now here she is actually cleaning up after him. There's the irony in that he was always like,
yeah,
you don't do a good job cleaning this house, and now clean me up. But
and then his wheelchair moves, and then she kind of freaks out a little bit.
Oh, yeah, he moved.
And I think he's slowly waking up.
Dun, dun, dun.
And then this made me think of something. Is this a long con on Bobby? But then I'm like, no, that makes no sense. Because some of the stuff they've done wouldn't make any sense. Yeah. And why would you con Bobby? He has nothing to give.
Right.
Yeah. So
no.
My other.
Were you saying Leo was doing the con, or was
yeah,
Bobby doing,
Leo and Shelley.
Yeah.
Why would they con Bobby? Because Bobby really has nothing.
Right.
Yeah, he has nothing. Oh, this is the one twist I wasn't a big fan of.
Yeah. So we're now at the Double R Diner, and Norma sees her mom, and her mom's like, "Why are you so upset?" It's like, "Oh, I got a bad review in the paper from the critic." And stuff. And it comes out that the mother was the critic, and it's like, okay, yeah. I mean, I think it's interesting to see Peggy Lipton is the actress who plays Norma, and I think she does a great job even being sad and being fed up, and I mean, I think that's interesting. But yeah, another storyline I don't care about. Like, I just don't care.
And okay, I'm at this side, the food critic. It's like a double-edged sword with me. I'm happy that we found out who it is.
Yes,
we put it to bed. And that she disappears after this.
Yep.
Like, she goes back home. I'm happy we weren't introduced to another character, and it was her. But do you almost feel like it was kind of like the writers were just like, oh, we just got to get this done. We'll just make it the mom.
I think it was always the mom. And I'll say why, because that when she would, in past episodes, when she ate food, she did make comments about the food. So, I mean, I think they always...
Why did she help her? Remember, she's like, I can make this diner better. And she started cooking and helping her. Was she trying to help her to get a better review?
Maybe. Yeah, that's a good point.
But she's not cutting her any breaks with the review.
Right.
So, it's a little weird.
I mean, I think she wants it both ways, right? She wants to be a mom, and she wants to say, I know better than you, and I know better than you, and I can either show you how to do it, or I can basically give you a bad review and say, this is not how you do it and stuff. But
the other thing is, I don't think this diner is going to falter because of her review. There's barely anybody ever in it, and all the people who are in it rave about the pie.
Yes,
yeah.
But Norma is saying that she doesn't want to lose those people. They don't want to. She was afraid that she just wants to have things the way it is.
Yeah. But I don't think a bad review is going to change the locals' minds if they like the place. Also, she was like a world-renowned critic,
right?
How did she keep this from her daughter for years? Yes. I mean, to build up world renownedness takes a long time.
Yeah,
so it's kind of weird how her daughter wouldn't even know what her mom is.
Yes,
yeah, but I guess to be a secret,
Yeah,
I
don't know either. I'm glad the storyline's done.
Yeah.
So now we have Hank and Ernie at One-Eye Jack's, and I think they're meeting up with.
Yeah, they're on a hunting trip. Which, that's what they told their wives.
So in the script, it's funny, in the unseen script, I think Cooper had noticed them, and it might even be the next episode, but he basically says, Truman, is it hunting season? And said, no, it is not hunting season. So it's not even hunting season, and I think, I'm wondering, are we in, I'm trying to remember what month we're in. We might be in March. I think it's March now. So, but yeah, so it's funny that, I mean, in the script, it was saying it's not hunting season, so they look like goofballs pretending that they're going hunting.
Yeah, and they are goofballs. It kind of goes, like, they're like,
they're wrestling, and they're doing a headlock or something.
And then my favorite character walks in the door.
Yeah, you were asking, would he come back here?
I know. Yeah. I think
Jean Reno.
Jean Reno, the guy's an amazing actor, and he's
Park. I can't remember his first name, but
Ray Parks. And
yeah.
I was so happy to see him, and he's such a good villain.
Yes, he does make a good villain. I'm glad. I mean, it is nice to have. I mean, this is something to look forward to, that we have another bad character to hate or. Yeah. He's
a good villain, and basically we find out that he's back, and he's kind
of taking over One-Eye Jack's, it seems.
No more Ben Horn. He's taken over, and the whole cocaine thing. We find out the Mountie was one of his guards.
Yeah, so the Mountie is working for him. So clearly, it's now clear that
they're out for Cooper.
Yep.
Yeah, and they want Ernie and Hank to plant the cocaine on Cooper.
Yeah,
which is odd because they've already came in saying the cocaine was missing.
Right.
You think they would have searched everything now? Now all of a sudden to mysteriously find cocaine on him?
Yeah,
just seems
you're right.
too fishy.
You think that this should have been. Yeah, I mean, it's a hard thing to do because do you have to first tell that they're missing the cocaine and then lead us to this? But you're right. We couldn't show the mount until this scene, so it's a weird thing to try to say we're gonna plant it. Or I mean, the better way it would be neat if you could have just said, did you plant it? Like it's too bad he couldn't have just said, did you do that already? So it'd say that it's already happened. But
or they had played the scene out where they say, well, Cooper, they take out the cocaine. We found this in your room.
Right.
And they go, that was not there. And he goes, but there's no proof that it wasn't there.
Yeah.
So just to come out and say, we found this, but it's sort of like, it's missing. Now go plant it. Yeah. So it's kind of weird. It's like haphazard a little bit. It's not a very well planned plan.
Right.
I mean, I don't know how well the plan's going to work, but it doesn't seem to be very clean.
And then Josie comes back.
Oh, Josie. And I have to say, that must have been a long walk from Hong Kong. That was a long walk. Because she's all beat up. So I'm assuming she didn't get on the plane. She didn't go. And she escaped her captor. And went back and yeah, did
her thing. We'll find out more as the episodes go on.
Yeah, I don't want to jump too much ahead.
We're now at the campfire with Cooper and Major Briggs. Maybe we can have some audio on this stuff. And
this is good stuff.
Yeah.
Well, Major, I find myself thinking a lot about Bob. If he truly exists.
I've pondered that same question continuously since horror was revealed.
Try to imagine him out there incarnate, looking for another victim to inhabit.
There are powerful forces of evil. It is some men's fate to face great darkness. We each choose how to react. If the choice is fear, then we become vulnerable to darkness. There are ways to resist. You, sir, were blessed with certain gifts. In this respect, you're not alone. Have you ever heard of the White Lodge?
The White Lodge.
The White Lodge.
No, I don't believe I have.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
And, okay, so this scene... Okay, first we heard about the White Lodge.
Yes.
And now Cooper goes to take a pee.
Yes.
All right? And, we just had a conversation about fear. And Cooper, he's off his game a little bit because of the whole suspension thing.
Yeah.
So maybe he's kind of doesn't know where his career is going to go. So they cut to something in the woods.
Right.
Like an owl or something.
That's what I feel like.
Because you hear the owl, hoo, when he's taking a pee.
Right.
White light, I feel like, is the white light a distraction? Was Cooper? Did Bob go into Cooper? And then I was trying to look for clues in episode 18, which next week you'll hear all my theories on that. Is Bob trying to take over Cooper? Because you hear the owl hooting, and he looks up, but then the white light comes. And the owl's watching him. Yeah. So the owl is there. So
the owl enjoys watching him urinate. So
yeah. But is the owl watching him in a sense, looking over him because he's not taken by this white light? And what is that figure?
Right. I don't know.
Did we find out?
No, we do not.
We do not.
Sometimes I look at it and say, "Is that a big owl?" I don't know what it is.
Oh,
we don't know.
A person dressed as an owl.
I don't know. Yeah. And then we have more of I mean, yeah. Is that owl? Is that the perspective of an owl that we see? Just the ground and.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, and it was a cool way to end the episode, and I like. I mean, without spoiling anything, that figure. Is it an alien? I mean, there's a lot more.
I will
to
say that I don't
week.
know. Yeah, there is more about that, but I also know if we watch the whole series, if we're ever going to really understand it. And it's something that I think it's something that we can definitely go back and forth and discuss. But it's not going to be. I don't know if it's clear exactly.
Okay,
but I mean, what are you going to say?
Well, my theory would be like the owl showed up. The white light was telling Major Briggs to leave, and he just leaves. But Cooper's by himself. I don't know.
Well,
see, I don't know.
Right. Now remember this too. That
one.
remember we learned that Major Briggs has top secret. He's part of the military. It seems like sometimes it's related to UFOs to some degree.
He's Scully's dad. So
Scully's dad, right? No, he's Scully's dad. Right. X-Files there. But right. And but you mean, it seems like, yeah, I won't get into too much, but it's interesting that like he clearly is doing some kind of top secret work. And it's funny, if we didn't know Twin Peaks, we would look at this and think this was the X-Files. We would see. I mean, I think it's the pilot of X-Files. We have this white light and Cooper's in the wood. I'm not Cooper in the wood. What am I saying? Fox Mulder's in the woods and he's chasing after people who are getting abducted. And in some ways, he's getting. I don't think this is a UFO in the sense of aliens. I don't know.
No.
We can go back and look at this, but it definitely feels like an
abduction.
Abduction. I mean. Major Briggs is gone. We have a white light and
a figure.
And
have they ever come out outside the show? Has anybody ever said what was that? What were they dressed as? Was it a person that's gigantic owl or robe? He looks like someone wearing a robe or a hood. They got like a hood and long robe-like figure.
There is some backstory and there will be hood-like character later on. So I mean,
interesting.
I think as we go on, there will be.
I know
some
you don't want to
references.
ruin it.
I don't want to ruin it.
Okay.
And I also don't know if there is a way to ruin it in some ways. I mean, I think there is some kind of. Yeah, I think we need to go there. I think you and I need to watch this and
see it unfold.
See it unfold. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So what else did I want to say? So there was some other dialogue I just shared that was unseen during this campfire scene.
Oh, cool.
And it's yeah. I don't know if I'm going to read all of it. But I'll talk about it. So I think this started at the beginning of the scene it was cut.
Yeah.
And Cooper says, Major, this is a fascinating concept. The other side of love is not hate, but fear. And Major Briggs is like, absolutely. And fear is the absence of love. And so they have this whole dialogue about fear and love. Mm-hmm. And, I think Cooper asked Major Briggs, does he love himself? And he says, most definitely. And so he does.
Most definitely.
Yeah. I believe that's what he said, yeah. And what else was there? Yeah. And Cooper says, so when I let fear in my life, I'm not loving myself. And he says, and he goes into very much. And I think at one point he talks about the idea of Leland probably letting fear into his life and not loving himself. I mean, which I thought was really interesting.
I got the connection.
Yeah.
That's why Leland was taken upon. Bob could get to Leland. And then I was like, well, does Bob try to take over Cooper? Because the whole owl thing, they talk about fear, and then what Cooper's going through.
Yeah.
There's fear of losing his job. There's fear that he might be suspended. There's fear that they're going to pin something on him. I don't know. Those are all just things I'm thinking
like his
of.
Theory. And if only he had gotten together with Audrey, he would be in love and he'd be all right.
But then she could die.
And there would be your fear again.
And there would be fear again.
Fear of death. Yes.
Yes.
And I think the last thing I had with that was Major Briggs. So Cooper saying that stands to reason that Leland Palmer didn't, that he didn't have love, that he had fear in his life. And Major Briggs says one could draw that conclusion. There are powerful forces of evil in the world. It's some men's fate to confront great darkness, which was part of the TV show, and that's where where it continues. So yeah, there is this dialogue about fear and love.
Yeah.
And it was cut, but it's still fascinating, and it seems like I think it's a topic that will come up again for sure.
A recurring theme.
Yeah, that whole fear and love.
Yeah, I totally get that.
Good. I mean, it was good. I mean, I want more of this. I want more of this mythology, more of this like woods and the behind the scenes, and we're now learning about the White Lodge, which with Joel, when we've had Joel on the show,
Yes,
he kind of says
Yep.
that we don't get this whole new background until after the Laura Palmer mystery. So.
Yeah, and how this second half of this series is about the Lodge, the White Lodge or the Black Lodge, which we'll talk about next episode. So if you think about it in that way, I guess that's how I'm going into this after talking to Joel about this. Like he told, and that's how I'm going to embrace the second half of the show. But this episode felt like it was in two parts. You have the farewell Cooper.
Yes.
And if you were to edit and just fade to black when he's saying goodbye to Lucy, roll credits, the end.
You got it.
But then all of a sudden it just stops and it picks up and we're just thrown into a whole new situation.
Yeah. It's pretty cool. Yeah, I mean, that's what I kind of go back to is like, what do the writers do?
Yeah.
I mean, because I tell you, David Lynch never wanted to solve the mystery. Like he wanted it, it'd be season 6 and we're maybe 6 months into Cooper being there, and he's still looking to figure out who killed Laura Palmer. So to kind of, their hand was kind of, both Mark Frost and David Lynch's hand are kind of tied, and they're basically said you need to finish off the story. So you do that. You basically tell the mystery, but now like what do you do? What is going to keep Cooper here? I mean, like why? I mean, you would think he would leave and go do other cases and stuff.
Yeah, but you're in love with this one town, these characters you don't want to let go.
So it's interesting. I mean, we'll talk more about it probably in future episodes and stuff. But it's good. It's good to be back and watching the show again.
Yes. And next week we'll be doing episode 18, which will hit upon the White Lodge and the Black Lodge. And before we go, what are we going to leave this episode with? What are we going to...
So I was trying to look for something still related to like the Twin Peaks with the idea of having the Palmer family. So I have Ray Wise, and actually I don't know if I've ever really seen this interview before. I was looking for other interviews he's done, but touch upon like still who's the killer. Because this is right before we find out who killed Laura Palmer. Yep. So in this interview I found, they're asking Ray Wise who the killer is. So I think that it's just a fun little interview to end the show with.
Yeah, it's pretty funny that they're asking him.
Yeah, I was looking for another one. It was Rick D, like up all night or something like that. And that one I couldn't find. I didn't find it in time. But in that one, he directly says, "Are you the killer?" And Ray Wise, like, he kind of laughs it off. It's like, "Come on, I wouldn't be." Maybe another time we'll play that one. But
we'll have to find that.
That's too funny. So where can people find us?
Well, we're on Twitter, and we have to thank you to all the Twitter people on Twitter. Thank you all. That made no sense. We have to thank everybody for following us on Twitter at Twin Peaks Unwrapped.
Yep, and on Facebook.
Yes, and we're getting more likes on Facebook. And I've been posting a lot on Facebook boards of Twin Peaks and stuff. And people have been liking and sharing. And this show, we've gained traction on Facebook. And you can find us at Twin Peaks Unwrapped on Facebook. And then we've been getting a lot of great fan people from the community emailing us.
Yeah.
Which
we just share. I mean, we kind of we got that feedback episode that we were able to share a little bit about that. But yeah, keep it coming, and we'll try to
do more in the future.
I mean, we gotta talk more about it. But I kind of think we kind of do maybe every once in a while do an episode like that where because sometimes. I want to do it on the show, but we get so caught up in talking about the show that we don't get around to doing the feedback. So I mean, we might just do another show at some point, just on feedback.
I love it.
Yeah.
And so you can email us at twinpeaksunwrapped@gmail.com, and please comments. On
iTunes, you can check us out on iTunes.
We're getting ratings on iTunes.
Awesome,
I've noticed.
That's excellent.
On episodes, it'd be like some episodes are rated and stuff, which is really
awesome.
cool.
Thank you for doing that. That's so cool.
Yeah, rating us and comment, and let's get us on the top 50.
That would be awesome. We could go for that. Yeah, our goal is us or maybe
another
Sparkwoods in 21 in the top 50 podcast in television or
television
film.
Yeah.
So yeah, we can dream that'd be a good goal. You can also find all our podcasts also on Twin Peaks Unwrapped.com. And thanks for listening.
Yeah, we'll be back next week with episode 18.
A mystery is solved on our television page, we hope. ABC and the executive producers of Twin Peaks promise that this Saturday they will finally answer the question, who killed Laura Palmer? Really? cast member Ray Wise isn't telling, but he answered some other questions for Sherry Sylvester. Most TV viewers would be hard-pressed to pick the weirdest character on Twin Peaks, but even Peaks freaks might point the finger at Leland Palmer, who may have the best opening lines in prime time.
Oh, nosy dotes and nosy dotes, a little lambsy divey, a kiddly divey too, wouldn't you?
I thought it would be a nice, normal lawyer, you know, who found out his daughter was dead, really couldn't handle the grief for a while, broke down a little bit, but would come back to normal. Well, I'm still waiting for that normal phase to happen.
Actor Ray Wise may be waiting for a very long time. He says the whole thing started simply enough.
This is all true now. I don't think anybody knows this, but I was up originally for the part of Harry S. Truman, the sheriff in town.
I'm looking for Leland Palmer.
Yeah, he's right over there on the phone.
Sheriff Truman.
I met with David Lynch and Mark Frost, and we just sat down, and what David and I talked about essentially was the first car that we owned. His was a Volkswagen, I believe. Mine was this little rattletrap Alfa Romeo convertible that I got in high school my senior year. That was the extent of the audition for Twin Peaks.
And faster than you can say, I'd like some cherry pie, please, Ray Wise was cast as Leland Palmer.
So I'm going through this. Leland Palmer. Well, where in the hell is Leland Palmer? Oh, here he is. Wait. There's Leland. He's on the phone. He hears that his daughter is dead. Okay.
My daughter's dead.
Besides sending viewers into Who Killed Laura Palmer feeding frenzies, the series has sent Wise into some frenzies of his own.
It's oh so peaceful on the other side. Look at your trouble, come on, get happy.
One of the most obvious character changes has been in Leland's hair color, with bizarre events changing it from black to white overnight.
So they bleached it out using probably the most powerful chemicals ever used on the face of the earth. And ladies who spend a lot of time in beauty salons know what I'm talking about. You're there 3 or 4 hours. It's a pretty long routine, and I have to get it done every 7 or 8 days because my roots come in very fast.
But the actor has worries that go beyond roots, like all those embarrassing scenes.
I think probably the most embarrassing ones are, well, not really embarrassing, but the hardest are yet to come. I think you got to take a look at the 6th, 7th, 8th, maybe 9th episode, and you'll see some stuff that is pretty extraordinary, I think.
I feel happy. Begin the beginning.
Sherry Sylvester,